Welcome, friends, to a new game analysis video with me and Nick Sloan and of High Ground Chess. And today we are going to be looking at game number 19 in my Road to Class A, Road to Expert series. I've been behind in posting my analysis and things like that, so life has been quite busy for me, and to be honest with you, I've actually lost a ton of motivation for posting my chess analysis videos. So this game was actually played back in, does it have the date? On February 6th. Actually, yeah, if I scroll down you can see. So yeah, I was playing a lot of games between then and now, and I'm recording this on May 12th, so it's been approximately 3 months since I've posted a game analysis video. So I apologize for that. I've been really kind of frustrated with my chess and how I've been having issues. So if you want to read more about that, check out my blog. There should be a link in the description. My latest thing is called The Inevitable Downturn, or The Inevitable Drop, I think, something like that. And it talks about how I've been feeling the last few months with my chess. So I'm finally in a good mindset. I'm back on track, and I'm going to start presenting some games for you. Try to get out at least a video a week, if not two. Try to get back after things. If I don't, I apologize, but I'm going to start working harder at my chess again. So this game, again, was game 19 in my Road to Expert series, and I am playing a game with Ashish Mishra. We have seen him as an opponent before, and you probably already saw the game log, but let's get into the game and take a look. Now, he played a3, and he's starting to play these unorthodox openings. And to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan. Obviously, that's fine for him, but and he does this on purpose because it gets people out of book right away, and I understand the idea. And but for me, I believe it's just trying to play for tricks and hoping that you get somebody in some sort of weird tactic out of the opening, instead of just trying to play decent chess. Then he played d3, and he's playing for this neo-Philidor type of opening, which is Anderson's opening. And if you look at the Lichess database, no masters have started this way. At least there's no games in the database that way. But at this point right now, in this position, there's only 17 games that have ever been played in this particular position on Lichess. So it's rare. It makes sense as to why people play it. So he wants to play this like Grand Prix, delayed Grand Prix with a3, which is fine. So I develop normally. I get this kind of modern defense, King's Indian attack type structure, and I just kind of develop normally. Now, I played knight c6 here. I probably should have played c5 and just played for a structure like this. I think that would have probably been a better way to go. I didn't do that. I just developed a piece. I thought development was going to be ideal. We get a, castling, and we see h6. I want to keep any pieces out of the g5 square. And this was the first move, besides a3, this was the first move I didn't really understand as to why he's playing that. It doesn't really make sense. You can kind of play a reverse Dutch type of setup here, aka the bird, but with this setup, I don't know that it's really ideal unless you have a plan to push this quickly. So I thought, okay, well, if you're going to push, I'm going to just allow myself to push past and not really worry too much about it. And it also gives me the ability to not be attacked by this. If I'm back here and he pushes here, I have to kind of do something about that. So I kind of got out of those types of tactics and thought, okay, well, this is nice, and I think I'm okay. He plays c3, and he's controlling, a central square, looking to push e4. Makes sense. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to stop you from ever pushing f5, and now we're going to see how you want to play. And he made a mistake by playing e5. Another interesting line could have been knight to h4, with trying to hang on to this pawn here. And now we've got a really tough structure to deal with. But I think overall, we are probably fine. But that didn't happen in the game. He played e5, and I took the opportunity to take, and I developed my bishop here. It does look very weird, right? But the idea is he's going to push here, and now I'm controlling all these nice white squares. And I can always kind of bring my queen around, or I can come over here. If I go this way, I can bring my rook in. I think we're doing fine. d4 is played, obviously controlling the dark squares and really kind of pinning in my bishop, so I'm going to have to deal with that at some point. I played a6 to gain more control of the light squares by playing e5. Played knight to d3, or bishop to d3 here, and I played knight to a5. And I thought this was a really good move because I thought I was adding a lot of complications. It's controlling a lot of key squares in his camp if I get my knight to the b square. And at this point, I felt like I'm at least equal, if not maybe doing a little bit better. Evaluation wise here, I was wrong. The evaluation is actually 1.4, so my evaluation skills were a bit off, but I thought that this was still a very good practical decision and difficult for him to kind of deal with. Knight b to d2, and I played c5. I want to rip open the center because his pawns are kind of loose. I've got a nice solid structure here in the king side. b4, and I pushed on. So the idea is if he plays here, here, and here, we get that kind of structure, and I can always lock this up like that. It's going to be very difficult to kind of deal with. He decided not to do that. He played b4, and I played c4, and this might have been decent, but it doesn't work because of bishop c4 is in there. I have this check. So I calculated that it didn't work, and it just doesn't quite work there. And I'm happy to have seen all of this. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't work for me, but I was happy to calculate it in the game. It's something that I saw. He decided to move back, and I played knight c6, and now I've got kind of a closed structure, and I can get my bishop here on a different diagonal and kind of lock things down that way. He plays knight to h4, allows my next move, which I thought was a tremendous move, and it's really hard to deal with, mainly because if he takes here, we have this wonderful fork, and I've won a 2 pawns and a rook for a knight, which is fantastic compensation. And he found a nice move, but it's still obviously a mistake. I think what he should have done is played here. And then we had some sort of scenario like this. I think that would have probably been best. But he moved back, and I kept the pawn, and then I just decided to attack another one because he still can't take this because I still have this fork. He goes back, and I drop back. Now, I probably could have just taken and just went on with life. Maybe came in here like this to come after this pawn. I think maybe I could have even come here and come after this pawn because there's no real way to kind of hang on to it after this. So yeah, there's definitely some challenges. He can come here, and then I have to deal with this piece, but I can always drop back or come over here. The king is very safe. Let's go back. I decided to come back because I thought this was probably a better, more practical, easy way to deal with things. Because now I'm up a pawn. So now I can kind of just hold my position and try to continue on. He plays queen to e3, queen to d5, kind of piling up. Bishop e2 and b5. I'm solidifying my structure. Rook to d1. And I have to be a little careful here because I have to deal with this particular rook and a potential issue. But he plays knight to d4, and now I'm kind of out of the way of the rook, but I still have to be a little bit mindful. And I played rook to f6. And here was my kind of the downfall of my game. I jammed all my pieces up. I should have just played, bishop to g7 or f7, and I think I'm fine. Just give up the pawn, and then if needed, I can just kind of bring my bishop here, and I'm on a really nice diagonal. And what is black going to do? You can trade some pieces, but I have this nice open file with to be able to bring my rooks over. Yeah, it's just, I also got to come back this way, but you have to be careful because of this, so we can't do that. That's what I was really concerned with, was all of this. So, yeah, it's kind of a bummer because I had such a good position, and then I kind of just throw it away by making such a weird, awkward move, because now I've lost one defender of this piece, expecting him to exchange, even though he doesn't have to. And then even if I come here, I lose an escape square for my knight. So it's really just not an ideal square for the rook at all. It's not losing by any means, but it's certainly not a good move. It was probably just not anything I should have played. I had a number of different moves that I could have played. I could have played this move. I could have played f4 and attacked his queen. And yeah, there's just so many other better options in the position, and I completely kind of bungled it by playing rook to f6. And this is kind of where things start to wane for me, and I start to fall behind. I get my knight out of the way. He brings his knight back, and we do a little bit of maneuvering here. And now I offer up a queen trade, and he says no. He should have just played this, and I should have just taken and then moved my rook out of the way. That didn't happen. He played queen to f2, and I played knight to e5. I think what I should have probably played was queen to h4 and g3. I didn't really like this as an option, but I think I'm okay because I can come in here and I can maybe push and get my rook here. And I think it's all right. I think the better option would have probably been just play g4. And this is the engine's suggested line at this point because of my mistake, or my inaccuracy. But it says g4, and then the best move, I guess, is a4, and then bishop d7. And my pieces are kind of unwinding, and I'm getting more of them on the king side, and I think I'm in a pretty decent spot. I didn't play that. He played here. I took. He took. I played knight to f8. I'm still doing fine here. We're good. The evaluation is at like -2. I felt as though I was winning, and I had a lot of pressure. And he continued with bishop d2, queen b7. I'm getting kind of out of the area. Rook to e1, bishop to d5. I'm kind of lining up on this diagonal as best I can. Knight to e5, which was an inaccuracy. He should have probably played h4, but that's such a hard move to find, to kind of open and blast open my king. But like, how do you make that with all this kind of pressure coming at you? Knight to e5, and I played e6, and I kind of locked in my pieces, and now I can kind of get my pieces coordinated. I feel like I finally unwound. I'm up 2 pawns at this point, So I'm feeling pretty good. I feel as though I am almost up a full piece given my wonderful position. I have the bishop pair imbalanced to my favor, I believe. I think this is great. And I just have to hold on and play a nice game. He played rook to e2, rook to e8. I'm piling up on this pawn. h4 is finally when he plays it. And I played f4. And I believe this was kind of the downfall and the start of me losing the game. Honestly, it could have just taken and probably been fine. This is what I was nervous about. I was kind of scared. But I could have just pushed on and said, okay, well, what are you going to do? I don't know what it was I didn't like about this move during the game. I did see it, but for some reason, to me, it felt wrong and I easily dismissed it. I don't know if I was just seeing ghosts against this pawn, but looking at it now, I'm like, there's no reason why I shouldn't have played this game, this move. It seems to be the best. I had a lot of options. I could have tried to attack the pawn. I could have also played knight to h7. I think g4 is probably one of my better moves, and I just missed it, Or, I didn't miss it, but there was something about it that felt wrong, and I think I was maybe distracted during the game, and I just totally missed out. But let's kind of buzz through. We're kind of getting towards time here, and I make a few moves and I kind of get myself not paying attention. I just kind of got myself wrangled up here where now I've lost a rook or dropped an exchange. Now, it's still not a big deal, but at this point, my mentality has shifted to, oh, I've made a major mistake and now I'm losing the game. When that couldn't be farther from the truth. I'm doing just fine. Missing an exchange here is not a horrible deal. It didn't really actually change the evaluation much at all. But during the game, you don't know that. e5 and knight to f5. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I've totally lost this game. I've messed everything up. And I played here to go after the pawn, not realizing that there's this fork. And at this point, I just try to save the game. And I've blundered, and the game's over. Pretty much, yeah, I've got a piece on pre. I thought, he's got all these pieces on here. My king's wide open. Yeah, I've just totally messed up by losing my frame of thought in this moment right here when I should have just went back, and the game is fine. Rook to f7, and everything is no problem at all. But I didn't. I did this and gave up an exchange. And even at this point, I still think I'm fine. But I was so disgusted with myself that I made this mistake, or at least so I thought it was a mistake at the time of the game. I'm like, oh, I dropped an exchange. This was horrible. And my mindset shifted, and then I just blew up the game. I just lost. So this is an important lesson. If you drop an exchange, it doesn't mean it's bad. Sometimes it's good. You just have to look at all the rest. So I think if, I just find this move here, queen to h7, I think the game's fine. I think I'm still holding this game. It's still a game, of course, but I think there's at least fighting chances. And now this knight's in trouble. What are you going to do with that knight? He's going to come here, and then I can attack it, and then where are you going to go? You're going to come back here, I guess. So it's a game. But I messed up. I didn't do that. And here I just kind of started making random moves, and I just let things happen, and it kind of blew up after that. So, yep. That's how it goes. So I hope you enjoyed this episode in my road to class, not class A, expert series. So we're now at game 18 or 19, and it's going to take a number of games to kind of continue on, because the next few games are going to be tough to watch because the next few months are rough. So stay tuned for all that, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and take care.